Dala, dala, dala. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to my channel. So today we're continuing in the mini series on nightmares and how to deal with nightmares. Today we are going to talk about another phenomenon that's related to nightmares. And here, when we speak of nightmares, we are speaking of a specific type of a dream that is frightening, that there's something that's very disturbing about it, that causes you to be scared, or that manifesting some of your fears. In this particular type of dreams, of nightmares, we are going to talk about the phenomenon of sleep paralysis. I do have to say that I have never experienced sleep paralysis myself, but I have had consultation with people who did or do and still do. So, for my understanding of sleep paralysis, what is often described to me is that you are dreaming or you are sleeping at least, and you feel as though you are awake, but you cannot move your body. And it's not just the fact that you cannot move, but it's also the fact that you are seeing something frightening, something that's within the room, within your bedroom with you, that you're trying to escape. They're scaring you basically. And while you're trying to escape or fight back, you find that your body is paralyzed, that you cannot move your body. You cannot even sometimes turn your head, sorry. In some other cases, some individual told me that they were able to turn their face. So if there's something in the corner that's scaring you, they were able to turn away. And sometimes turning away was what enabled them to wake up. But for the most part, it's basically that you are experiencing a dream within which you cannot move. Now, the ability of not being able to move, sometimes the person dreaming attributes that inability directly to the entity or whatever thing is in the room, causing them to be scared. They are feeling that this thing is preventing them from moving. It's not always the case, but sometimes that's what has been reported. Now, when I was initially a few years back doing research on sleep paralysis, I've seen that from a scientific perspective, they're often saying that it's something with doing with waking up from a specific state of sleep and doing it too abruptly, and this is why you can't control your body. And attributing that you're scared of a specific thing, basically telling you that you're not scared of anything. This is just your brain doing tricks on you, an hallucination. So for me, from a spiritual and an energetical perspective, we do not dismiss what the person is saying. We did not dismiss what the client is saying. On the contrary, we're taking what the client is saying account for face value. This is what they felt, this is what they remember, this is the impression that they have, this is the sensation that they had. Sometimes they even had smells related with it. But this is a recollection of the client, and we have to take that in consideration when we're trying to help someone in terms of what is frightening them and how they are experiencing that fright. So the first thing that I wanted to say is like the fact that you are saying that there's something in the room may be completely valid. There may be something in the room, something that goes beyond the current scientific knowledge, something that could be there as a present that's physically there with you on a spirit level or on an energetical level, and something that could even interfere with your ability to move to a certain extent. So it's first of all to say that your impression, your experience is completely valid. And from a perspective of spiritual perspective or energetical perspective, we use that as a starting point. Sometimes we're going to try to see what is actually scaring you in the dream. It may be a specific entity, it may be a figure that you're seeing, it may be a situation that you're undergoing. So there's a lot of variabilities. And of course, if you have an experience of sleep paralysis that's completely outside of that or that's different, please do let me know in the comments. I will be interested in seeing the different ways that manifest basically. Now, for me, there's also one point to take in consideration because I want to make sure, or I want to integrate the fact that you remember the dreams or you remember partially the experience, I will say, and to try if you remember the perspective of your experience. Because I've noticed that for some people, they are laying down, so whatever they're looking at the corner, sometimes it's the corner, the upper corner of a room, that they are seeing something there. Sometimes it's the lower corner, something that's crawling on the floor or coming out of the wall, crawling on the floor. It could be the ceiling, it could be anywhere. But the perspective is it something that you're seeing from the bed? So when you're remembering this sleep paralysis, are you laying down on the bed when you are looking at that? Because for some people, they are laying down on the bed. But there are a couple of people that were saying basically they were not laying on the bed. When they experience that, the way they're looking at it is that they're kind of floating. They're seeing it from above. They're seeing themselves in the bed, unable to move, and this thing is crawling towards them or coming towards them, or sometimes just peeking and not moving, but looking at them or coming into their physical space. So one thing I will say, if you are looking at it or if your experience is from a perspective where you are actually above, it may very well be that you are astral projecting, that you are having an out-of-body experience. Basically, a lot of us do that, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously. When you're sleeping, your spirit may leave your body and you may be wandering around, going around, etc. This is what the dream realm is, not just an illusion or anything like that. It could be something that's on the physiological plane, not even on the material plane, something that's very much real. Sometimes you dream of a foreign country and it's as if you were there because your spirit was actually there in that place at that time, in that environment. So it's well possible that you are actually floating outside of your body, maybe coming back to your body, and there's a threatening entity. In African spirituality, in the Benedict tradition, we are well aware that we all have the ability of leaving our bodies. And for us, it is said that it is always important to come back to your bodies before the sun arises. So for all type of reasons, which I could get into in a different videos. So it is not uncommon or bizarre that you may see that you are floating and experiencing the sleep paralysis while being outside of your body. Maybe you're coming back to your body. And it may also be your body alerting you. So you're feeling the sleep paralysis, or you're gasping, or you're feeling this presence, because there is a presence that's coming, lurking towards your body while you're doing something else somewhere else. So you may be having a dream, and all of a sudden you're brought back to your bedroom, to your physical place where your body is, the place where your body is physically present. And you brought back there because there's something lurking in the room. And you have to understand that when you are leaving your body to go do whatever you're doing, your body is in a kind of a state where it's on autopilot, if you like. So you continue breathing, you continue the muscle, the physical aspect of your body is doing what it's supposed to do, maintaining you, and your connection with your body is still there, but it's different because your spirit is outside of it. Which also means that while you maintain this connection and it's outside of it, other spirit may see your body being in a different state, may try to enter your body, may try to do all kind of things. So this specific sleep paralysis sometimes can be a warning to you, to let you know that something is happening where your body is, that you need to come back and address. So you come back within the room and you cannot move because you haven't gotten back to your body yet. This is why you may be seeing this thing that's frightening, and you may be wanting to do things, wanting to act physically while you haven't gotten back to your body yet. So the first thing will be, if you're seeing it from abroad in this experience or in this nightmare, the next time you have it, simply try to go back to your body. Go back to touching yourself in the dream, to going back to the person that's laying down, and see if that stops the paralysis and enable you to move. And this aspect of being out of body is very common. Sometimes if you have a child that's wetting the bed, sometimes they're not wearing the bed because of a physiological issues, or because of trauma or anything like that. Sometimes it's because that child is already going outside of their body. So when they go into the bathroom, instead of going there with their body, it's just the spirit that's going to the bathroom. And the child will really think that they're going to the bathroom while they're actually still sleeping in their bed. So this is why when you're dealing with children that have this kind of thing, very listen to them. If the child is telling you, I got up, I went to the bathroom, the child is not lying. It's just that they are doing it on the spiritual the spiritual plane, and they're not aware that they're doing it consciously. And one of the easiest way to just deal with that is just to tell the child, okay, make sure that when you want to go to the bathroom, make sure you touch your night table, so that the child may have the reflex to get back to a physical aspect of themselves and be touching things around before they get up. And there's also another multiple of things that you can do about that. But this parenthesis was needed just to explain to you that it's not uncommon for people to leave their body and to have out of body experience. It's something that you need to be aware of so that you can address it accordingly. Now, for those of you where this is not an issue, where you're not floating, you are actually in your bed and you're feeling like you cannot move for whatever reason, but you are no, and you're feeling that you cannot move, then we need to assess other things. So, in your feeling during that experience, are you feeling like it is that particular thing in the room that's causing you not to be able to move? Because that will also mean that it has nothing to do with you physically or spiritually. It really has to do with that thing interfering with your ability to move. And which is usually temporary, especially if that thing cannot get a hold of you. So it's basically addressing you that you need to address this, especially if sleep paralysis is something that happens to you often in the same room at the same time. So those are things that you can start noting. What time is it happening? Where are you when it's happening to you? One point I didn't address, and I may do a separate video on that, is that nightmares are not something that's exclusive to the nighttime. It can happen anytime you're falling asleep, anytime you're going to sleep, because it is an experience in the dream realm. It's just a type of dream, and we may be dreaming at any time of the day. Most often we do it at night, but it could be during the day as well. So, so this is why you can have, if you're having sleep paralysis during the day or at night, it may depends. It may be, if it's just at night, it may be that it's this particular entity that's coming at during the nighttime. And if you don't happen to you when you take naps, for example, then it may be something particular on the darker side that's coming from the night. And that entity may be scared of the light as well. So that means at night, you may keep a light on. You may have, I will say a light, because you could do it with candles, but because of safety issues, I will say just have a bed night that you keep on. And that you will see if that sleep paralysis does not happen to you when you take naps, then most often if you keep your light on, it may also fade away at nighttime. Of course, one of the remedies that you can also do is to cleanse your space, cleanse your bedroom in particular, but I will cleanse the whole house as well. And especially where you see the entity coming or where you feel like the entity is coming from, that space, particular space in your bedroom, you can also go there and cleanse properly that space. We've talked about salt, we've talked about some tools that you may get in your sacred space, in the sacred space videos that I've made. So first, identifying where it comes from. This is, of course, if whatever's scaring you is at one particular place in the room. Now, if it happens that one night is on this side, another night is on another side, another night is on the floor, if it could be all over the place, you never know where it's coming from, then just cleanse the whole room with that duty particular. You may also do this little test by having a house plant near that spot. If you know that the paralysis, whatever's going on, is on a particular spot on the room, if you want to confirm that this is a negative entity trying to do something to you, you may place a house plant right there, and you water it. You will care for it as usual as you do anywhere else, and then you observe what happens to this plant there. You may also do as other drastic measures in terms of like moving, making your bedroom in another room, in a different room, sleeping in a different room, and basically assessing the energy of that particular space in your apartment and cleansing and protecting it as a first guide. Then you may also expand and do research in terms of like, did something happen in your apartment, in your bedroom, in your building, in your neighborhood, things like that. Of course, as I said, if few days before the sleep paralysis happened, you visited a cemetery, that means you also need to cleanse your body, or cleanse your body regardless, because it's always a good thing to do, especially if you haven't done it for a long time. Spiritual bath, salt bath are a good way to cleanse your body. So that's kind of a beginning in terms of discussing this sleep paralysis. In a future video, we'll discuss other tools that you can use to address not just this, but nightmares in general. But the first step for you is to assess what is happening and where is it happening. If it is too frightening for you to even speak about it, it's going to be harder, obviously, for us to help you with that. But I think the upcoming videos on the tools at your disposal may help you take those baby steps towards addressing nightmare in general and sleep paralysis in particular. Other things also, you may also be simply in between worlds. So I've mentioned before that you may be in the spirit world because you were, you came out of your body and you're somewhere else. And if you are in between worlds, meaning coming back from your dream, from the dream world back to your body, coming back from the astral plane or from whatever plane you were at or wherever you travel to, it's also possible that whatever you're seeing in the room is actually something that followed you from wherever you're coming from. And this goes for lucid dreaming. It goes for anywhere. The astral plane is riddled with experiences and entity and all kind of things. Some positive, some negative, some in between. So it is possible also that something wherever you went followed you. So this is also why even when you are sleeping or dreaming, you need to protect yourself as well. And when you get back, when you awake from this, you basically need to do the same thing in terms of clearing and things like that, even though whatever was in your space is coming from the dream realm. And if that is the case, then when you dream, as you know you're dreaming, you can also do this cleansing in the spiritual space as well. So I hope this get this conversation going in terms of sleep paralysis. I do not agree to say that this is purely a physiological thing with brain issues or muscle issues and things like that. I do believe that you also have to integrate exactly what you've seen and what you felt and what you experienced and address that. Dreams, as I said, a lot of time, all of the dreams have a specific message. This is why sometimes I say that this sleep paralysis may be a warning in terms of your physical body integrity being either challenged or being in some type of risk or being just aware that there's something else happening and calling you back to it. So that's one way also to address, meaning that there's something that you need to be doing. Because if you notice in the sleep paralysis, at least for most of the people that I've spoken to about this, the entity never actually managed to hold you or to touch you or to hurt you or to kill you or anything like that in that particular experience. You always manage to wake up. So this is telling me that this is a warning, especially if for you in your dream that thing is coming closer and closer. So as you start taking steps, you may see that thing going further and further away or even leaving, either because you will see it leave or because it will never come back. So be assured that you don't have to just be a victim of this experience. There are things and tools that are available for you to deal with it. And I've mentioned in this video some of them. So let me know in the comment section what type of sleep paralysis you're experiencing it, if you're experiencing that. Have you had the experience where you tell this to somebody else and they minimize your experience or they dismiss it? And don't blame them because sometimes they simply don't understand what you're talking about. For me, I've never personally experienced that, but through the consultations and through the messages that I've received over the years, it's a phenomenon that has been brought at the forefront. And I do have to say that sometimes the solution is not a one-fits-all solution. So some of the things that I give to you are the things that are general, and usually I try to give you tools that you can use without harming yourself. So with a spiritual bath or a soul bath, you're not going to be harming yourself because you're using things that are very benign, like water and salt and herbs. So this is what I'm not going to go in and provide elaborate things that you can do here, just because if you don't know what you're doing, it may actually harm you or it may emphasize this thing, especially if you're dealing with an actual strong entity. All right, I hope this was useful. Of course, leave your comments and suggestions below, and I will see you in the next episode.